2017 Mazda CX-9 review, strong pull from the Turbo 4, and great looks. Our internal polling says Mazda CX-9 competitors include the GMC Acadia, Honda Pilot, Hyundai Santa Fe, Toyota Highlander, Ford Explorer, and Nissan Pathfinder. Looking over this list, the CX-9 is close to the top for me. All of those start in the $30K $32K range, but this is the best looker of the group. It has an aggressive front end that angles inward from the front lip of the hood. It follows Mazda's design language that we've been seeing for a few years, but this is the furthest along, closest to the original KODO design concept. The Signature is the most expensive trim, but this Grand Touring is right below it. It has all of the bells and whistles except for auburn-colored Nappa leather, rosewood supplied by Japanese guitar maker Fujigen, LED Signature accent grille lighting and LED accent lighting around the automatic shifter. So there. The Signature also gets the torque vectoring AWD system, which I didn't really need on this cold but dry day. The Turbo 4 provides enough power that I would have guessed it was a 6-cylinder. On the highway, on the street, I never felt like I needed more. The 6-speed automatic is good, and the auto stick is in the proper up-is-down format. Steering and handling feel is better than average, but with Mazda it always is. The wheels are big enough to absorb most of the big potholes and the chassis seems to soak up the rest. It's a good-looking crossover at a fair base price. $40,000 seems like a little much, but it's still about average for this class of vehicles with this class of options. Jake Lingeman, Road Test Editor. Other voices. $40,000 only seems like a lot for someone who hasn't been in the three-row market lately, Mr. Lingeman. And our CX-9 is closer to $44,000, looking at the specs. Still, it's a lot of SUV for the money, and I'll agree Mazda has covered almost all the bases with its big family hauler. It's by far the best interior the brand has ever done, and they've instilled a sense of solidity into the chassis, structure and even the way the doors close that's significantly ahead of anything ever found at a Mazda dealership. That sense of heft makes the CX-9's on-road manners even more surprising. It drives like a much smaller vehicle, eager to be flung around, to a point. Aside from some vagueness to the steering, it handles like a Mazda should. Like Jake, I found the 2.5-liter Turbo 4 plenty stout for anything I could throw at it, and downright punchy from stoplights. The trip computer showed just under 21 miles per gallon in mostly city driving. That's pretty close to the rated figure, and realistically about as good as you're going to get from a large gasoline-powered three-row utility in normal driving. My only real beef with the CX-9 is the same one I had with the first example I drove. There's not enough seat adjustment for taller drivers, especially in the seat bottom cushion. Rather than adjusting for height at the front of the seat, it simply pivots, raising or lowering the rear of the seat bottom. Combined with too little telescoping in the steering column, it means no matter how much I like Mazda's new family hauler, I can't get comfortable inside. Mazda has promised me the issue is corrected in 2018 models, so it may soon be a moot point. Andrew Stoy, Digital Editor. Mazda is hoping consumers, at least a handful of them, are ready for Japansness, and are willing to pay a premium for it. With a 2% global market share, Mazda knows. Do buyers care about how their vehicles look? Do they care about how they drive? When it comes to two-door roadster, sure. Three-door crossovers? That's a tougher call, but for Mazda's sake, I hope so. The new CX-9 offers a good measure more personality than segment standbys, but name recognition and reputation seem to rule this corner of the market. Perhaps rightly so. After all, you buy something like this to haul the kids, the dogs, the road trip supplies. Whether entry-level or luxury, they're tools first and foremost. Why take a chance on the flashy newcomer when you know the stolid standby will haul the groceries for 100,000 miles and still have good trade-in value when all is said and done? Or, to put it more bluntly, why buy this over the Hyundai alternative? Well, it looks good, which is a good start. As Jake mentions, The CX-9 pushes things closer to the various KODO styling exercises than anything else in the Mazda fleet. I dig the Charnose-like fascia with the ribbon of metal wrapped around the bottom, almost like a jawbone. The 6 sedan, which is also a pretty car, gets similar cues. But the CX-9 pushes them all a little further. Likewise, the interior is the best example of Mazda's upmarket push to date. I believe I said the same thing about the last 6 sedan I drove, but that doesn't make me a broken record. It's proof Mazda is actually following through on their plan to tighten things up. I'd love to see the wood trim, which was absent on this test. And while most people seem to prefer an integrated approach to the infotainment screen, I don't even mind the floater plopped on the middle of the dash here. Driving? It's not a rush. Not even in sport mode. Sorry. It's also not sloppy. On winter tires, the CX-9 seems to handle our post-apocalyptic roads with confidence, yet there's less roll than you'd get on a Pilot or Highlander if you do take it around a corner. 310 pounds-to-foot of turbocharged torque is plenty to put it right up there at the top. The Explorer and the Durango can best it if you opt for the top-level engines. It's a balanced driver even without the available torque vectoring. The CX-9 holds its own against far more expensive 3-row crossovers, at the very least when it comes to style. Visually, it's almost at the level of the XC90, though the Volvo packs more power and has cushier seats. It's a big vehicle that manages to look and drive a little smaller and lighter than it actually is. I don't know what, if any, theoretical teething problems this new model will have, but provided it holds up, it's shaping up to be a more than worthy contender. Graham Kosick, Associate Editor. By Autoweek staff. On sale, now. Base price, $43,210. Powertrain, 2.5-liter DOC turbocharged i4, AWD 6-speed automatic. Output, 227 horsepower at 5,000 revolutions per minute. 310 pounds-to-foot at 2,000 revolutions per minute. Curb weight, 4,301 pounds. Fuel economy, 20/26 23rds of a mile per gallon EPA city/highway/combined. Pros, the best-looking 3-row on the market. Cons, seats could use an adjustment upgrade. Car reviews, car news, photo, authors, Autoweek editors, family, other news, drive reviews, review notes, crossover, SUV, Mazda, CX-9.